We've been told that softness is weakness, that to survive, you have to harden up, that sensitivity makes you a target, that empathy makes you naive. But here's the truth though, your softness is not a liability. I think this is your greatest power. And the world confuses hardness with strength because it doesn't really know what real strength actually costs. But the people who have suffered deeply and who still choose to stay open, those I think are amongst the strongest of souls alive. At Bintegers, we don't apologize for our softness, we want to honor it. So integrity is what keeps us grounded in truth, and intimacy, it helps us stay open in a world that wants us to be closed. Because being soft does not make you weak, it just makes you real. But let's get this straight though. You weren't born hardened. You were born open and receptive and curious and tender. Softness was, I think, our original setting. See, we cried when we were hungry. We reached out when we needed someone to touch us. We trusted that the world would respond when we extended ourselves. And then little by little, we learned that it wasn't really safe to stay this way. Someone perhaps mocked our tears. Someone maybe took advantage of our kindness. Someone treated our openness like it was weakness. And so we did what we had to do, and we built up some armor. But that armor over time became like a prison for us. See, hardness might protect us, but it also disconnects us as well too. See, we can't feel love through the same walls that keep the pain out. And we can't experience intimacy through the same defenses that in essence guard our vulnerability. So the more that we numb ourselves, the less that we live. And this is why integrity deeply matters. It keeps us human when life tries to make us cynical. And intimacy, it keeps us alive to the tenderness that we once buried just so we could survive. And see, somewhere along the way, we started calling numbness maturity. And we started mistaking like indifference for peace. And we called cynicism wisdom. So we celebrated detachment like it was self-respect. But real maturity is not about feeling less. It's about feeling deeper and handling that feeling with care. Real wisdom doesn't shut the heart down. It teaches it how to stay open without losing integrity. Because softness is not the absence of strength. Softness is actually the evidence of healing that has taken place. You can't fake softness. I mean, you can fake politeness, yes, you can fake composure, you can fake forgiveness perhaps, but softness, that's something that your body remembers when it feels safe enough again. So softness returns when survival mode comes to an end. It's what really emerges when you're no longer performing and where you're not trying to posture resilience and instead you're actually embodying what peace looks and feels like. Most of us, I think we've lived our entire lives in this state of emotional armor. We don't call it that, of course, I don't think. We call it just being realistic or not getting our hopes up too quickly, right? Or we call it guarding our energy. But the truth is, most of us aren't really guarding our energy. We're actually just guarding our pain. And when we build our identity around that pain, well, our hardness becomes home then, right? But a heart that never lets itself be soft again doesn't protect you. It isolates you. And you stop letting people in, and you stop receiving care, and you stop trusting your own tenderness. And without tenderness, love becomes impossible. Here's what integrity teaches though. Integrity teaches that softness does not mean that you let people walk all over you. It means that you refuse to let the pain turn you into something you're not. And that's, I think, what makes softness powerful. It's like a choice. It's a choice and not a default. It's saying, I've been hurt, yes, but I'm not going to build my personality around this wound that hurt me. Softness is not fragility. Softness is like mastery. It's like the art of saying that you'll stay, and you'll stay open even when closing would be far easier. I mean, think about it. Water breaks down rock over time, doesn't it? With time and patience and the flow carving canyons where forces never could have. And softness is the element that transforms everything that it touches because it doesn't resist truth. It just absorbs it. And that's why your softness makes you magnetic. It allows you to be accessible to life still. See, when you harden, you survive. But when you soften is when you heal. So let's talk about the fear that keeps us hard, though. It's this fear of being misunderstood, perhaps. The fear of caring more for others than we do ourselves. The fear of being taken advantage of again. And so we tighten up, we withdraw, and then we start confusing detachment with dignity. But the irony is, dignity is not cold. It's clear. And boundaries don't require hardness. They require self-respect. You can be both soft and strong. And you can set boundaries with kindness. You can love with open hands and not with these clenched fists. Softness is not passivity. It's not silence. It's not surrender. Softness is presence. It's your ability to stay true to yourself without needing to dominate or disappear. It's knowing how to respond without matching the chaos that's in the world around you. Integrity keeps you from folding, and intimacy keeps you from freezing. And I mean, together, these two, they help you live from a strength that doesn't need to look tough to be real. Here's something that very few people will tell you, and that's that hardness does look impressive, yes, but it's just armor that's shaped like confidence. Softness, however, does not need to perform. It just exists. And because it doesn't need validation, it's far more powerful than any posturing could ever be. So when you embody softness, you're now stopping, like you stop now from competing for safety. Instead, now you create it and you become it. See, I know why we've hardened. I know that the world hasn't always been kind to us. I know that our softness has been used against us. But every time we choose to stay open anyway, we're reclaiming something really sacred, and that is we're reclaiming our humanity. And that's what this whole series has been leading to. Not pretending to be healed, but remembering that we were never broken. So softness is really how our soul breathes. It's how love gets in. It's how connection feels real again. And when you live with integrity and a commitment to intimacy as well, it's then that you begin to understand that gentleness is not a downgrade from strength. It's actually the ultimate upgrade from fear. Because anyone can fight, but it takes courage to stay kind. And you don't have to harden to survive anymore. See, you're not the same person who needed those walls. You've grown now, you've evolved, you've learned, and you now, and now like it's safe to lay some of that armor that served you for so long. It's okay to put that down for the moment, because the truth is, the world does not need your toughness. The world needs your tenderness. Your softness is the medicine that your past self never received. And when you choose softness now, you'll start to notice things again. Like you'll Notice the texture of the sunlight on your face, the way that someone's tone changes when they feel safe around you. The ease perhaps that comes when you stop bracing for impact. See, softness is really how life becomes intimate again. It's how we move from surviving to belonging. So don't mistake emotional distance for maturity. Don't confuse sarcasm for depth. Don't call self-protection self-worth. And don't call your armor your identity either. Because at the end of the day, what makes you powerful isn't how impenetrable you've become. It's really about how reachable you still are. And that's where integrity and intimacy meet. And this quiet courage to stay reachable even after the pain. In tomorrow's episode, as we wind this series down, we're going to talk about resting in our own gaze, where we'll talk about what happens when we stop waiting for others to see our worth, and how we can begin to rest in a way that we see ourselves again. Because the deepest form of freedom comes when our reflection finally feels like home. So maybe this week, your practice isn't to get stronger. Maybe for this week, it's just to get gentler, to speak a bit more softly to yourself and to those around you, and to the parts of you that still feel vulnerable. Because gentleness does not mean weakness. It means wisdom. And it means that you've learned that true safety never came from being invincible. It actually really came from being integrated. And when you live from that kind of a peace, you start changing the environments around you. And you start creating these spaces that feel like you can breathe freely. You stop fighting the world that is around you, and you start instead bringing healing to it simply by being who you are. See, your softness is not a liability like you were told it was. It's the evidence that you've survived without losing your soul. Let me know in the comments how this episode landed, and I'll see you in tomorrow's episode.